Welcome back, Trinity people. We're getting you ready to meditate with us on Wednesday nights. We do this every week, and if you're not a part of it already, become a part of it. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. You can get the energy that we're meditating on, and you can join us Wednesday night, and together we can change the consciousness, putting these energies into the mass consciousness, not just as a word, but as a sensation. And that's what we try and do in these videos, give you a sensation to go with each energy. Tonight we're talking about tenderness. Tenderness is very useful, but we only think of it in one dimension, and it actually has two dimensions. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Most of us know tenderness as, I have a little kitten, oh, a sweet kitten, and we're all, oh, she's so good, and we're snuggling it, and we're right up on it, and we think of tenderness as that very close, very soft, gentle sort of embrace. And that's not wrong, it's just half the story. Tenderness also has a part that is the opposite of that. If you have a very tender tooth, you totally avoid eating peanut brittle. If somebody's husband or wife just died, you totally avoid going, so, do you miss your husband yet? Terrible, terrible, non-tender thing to do. Tenderness has those two parts. It has the in-close part and the avoid, stay away part. Both of those have to be present if you're really going to empower the sensation of it. So I'm going to give you a self-defense tip that I think will help you really grasp this sensation. If you have somebody in a karate class or something and they reach for you, you may do your favorite technique. You know, push their hand out of the way, punch them in the face, twist them into an arm lock. Techniques are not bad, but in a self-defense situation, you don't want to think, what's my go-to technique? Because techniques are based on, this person stands here and I do this thing, and it never quite works out the way you practice it. In a real-life self-defense situation, they may swing at a different angle, there may be a slippery floor, you may be in a closed-in alley. A lot of variables mean that you can't always count on a technique working the way you had planned for it to. But what you can count on is a strategy. Strategies are what we recommend that you go to in a self-defense situation. The number one strategy is that you want to be not in the middle. Where she is now is exactly the wrong place to be. Everything that I want to do to her works right there. So she wants to be one of two places. Either all the way out, so that she's not in punching or kicking or grabbing range. But if she's all the way out and I happen to have a weapon, that's super bad. If a weapon's involved and you see somebody might be armed and you go, where did their hand go? I don't see their hand. You should come all the way in. All the way in or all the way out is the strategy that you want to employ in a self-defense situation. Because if she's all the way in and I reach for this gun, bam, she's smothering it, she's stopping the draw from happening, much better than letting me get to this point. That's a deadly point. Yes, there are techniques to take a gun away, but your percentage is low. Your percentage is much better if you catch them while they're drawing it and just smother that draw. So, all the way in or all the way out. That's what you want to be. Never in the middle. Bad in the middle, bad in the middle, bad in the middle. Everything's bad right there at the end of their arm range. Bad. So, either back all the way or in all the way. Here, if something happens, you're on it, you can smother it. Every time they try to do something, you're right there, you're stopping it. Seems a little scarier. People don't like to be in, but it's often safer in. And if you're not going to be in, where should you be? All the way out. That's the key. In or out, never in the middle. That's the sensation of tenderness. Let me give you this. And I want to explain how you're going to use this in your life, because yes, in a self-defense situation that might be great, but hopefully you never get attacked. I don't want any of you to get attacked. I'm not saying that we're hoping for that, so maybe that never comes up in your life. But a great way to practice this in or out feeling in your regular everyday life is to think in terms of, I have an upset. If you have an upset with a person or a situation, then you want to be all the way in or all the way out. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you have not had time to get through your feeling and you don't know exactly what's irritating you, you just know you're irritated, be all the way out. Somebody says, hey, let's talk about it. You say, I'm not ready to talk about it. I haven't processed anything. Be all the way out. If you're going to talk about it, go all the way in. Be willing to go into the feeling and really feel it. Don't just mentalize it, but really feel it and get through it. The worst place to be is in the middle, where you know that you have some underlying upset, but you're just talking about the stuff that happened. And underneath the stuff that happened, you can hear how upset you are. That's the worst place to be, because when you're doing that, you're projecting negativity into your life. You're saying, there's these things that I created and I hate them. And if you put it that way, if you were to walk around saying, I hate my creations, I hate my creations, do you expect that you would create a wonderful reality or a shitty reality? Pretty obvious that you would not create a wonderful reality by walking around saying, I hate my creations. But if you haven't gone through your feeling, that's what you're doing. Every time you talk about it, with those feelings bubbling under the surface, you're basically telling your subconscious, I am upset with my creations. I do not like what I create. That's not going to bode very well for your future, is it? So be all the way in or all the way out. Either go all the way through the feeling, be willing to talk to this person, sit down, let it come up, let yourself feel it, let it not be about the situation anymore, or say, I'm not ready to talk about that, and be all the way out. But don't bring it up and just let it simmer. That's the worst possible thing, just like it is in a self-defense situation. Being in the middle is the worst possible thing. Feeling the positive, open, moving possibilities at either end of the spectrum, all the way in or all the way out, that's tenderness. And you can practice it every day in your life and be ready for that self-defense situation. If you think this stuff's cool, stay tuned for more Trinity.